Hey there, Icarus here, and welcome to yet another edition of Doom Mod Madness. This time round I got some eye candy for you, and that comes in the form of the Liquid Texture Pack demo map. As you may have already seen thanks to the intro there, this features some downright gorgeous looking environments. Just the usage of light in concert with the actual textures themselves gave me some genuine wow moments the first time I played through this, so much so that I felt compelled to download the Doom Cameraman mod and get to grips with it so I could create said intro. But as it happens, this map is more than just about giving you pretty visuals. It's also a bit of a primer for how the Liquid Texture Pack actually operates. So before you get into the meat of the showcase environments, you get these long corridors that give you a good idea of how the Liquid Texture Pack actually works, and how you could even customize some of them yourself in order to accurately flow around level geometry. In all honesty, the kind of stuff that I'd have to learn in order to utilize this goes slightly over my head. Smooth brain, not enough wrinkles, but I can at least acknowledge that what I'm witnessing here is very interesting and impressive stuff. I certainly have to say though that one of the standout aspects of these liquid textures, especially when you get up to the likes of the lava style textures, the goop, the nukage, whatever you want to call it, it's the degree of depth that they seem to have, even though it's technically just an illusion. Further to that, this texture pack also utilizes ray-traced reflections. That's certainly more apparent in the more transparent liquids, your less viscous liquids, for example, such as standard water. And in some of these demo rooms, it certainly makes for an extremely striking effect. Another effect that I really like out of this texture pack is the effect that you get when you're submerged, when you're underwater. That shimmer of light, I believe, is by virtue of a caustic shader, which, again, is doing things far too clever for me to truly comprehend. But for all the gee-whiz technical stuff that's featured in this demo map, you'll be pleased to know that this map is also an entirely playable experience of its own accord, monsters and all. But yeah, this is a map that will actually make you sweat somewhat before you can truly stop and appreciate your surroundings. I was actually surprised how much challenge that this was providing, even on a difficulty such as Hurt Me Plenty. But for those of you who are wondering how I managed to keep my shots in the intro monster-free, that was virtue of an additional mod by the name of Tourism. Fantastic choice if you just want to appreciate the surroundings, if you want to gawk at the architecture without taking a fireball to the face. Something that I immediately appreciated about this next significant section here, and honestly something that's echoed across practically all other areas during the course of this map, was just how gosh darn vast it felt. Those gargantuan ceilings, that blood river running through, and on top of that, the wonderful degree of freedom you have when it comes to fighting, or in my case, tactically retreating from the crapload of enemies scattered throughout. I mean, honestly, this place has no chill. There's like several cyber demons in here, at least one archvile Hurt Me Plenty. Again, this is a map that makes you work for your moments of peace. Also, don't think you can cheese this and just run straight past everything to the exit, because now the mapper thought of this, there's a keycard door, and yeah, it is actually quite easy to miss. The skull feels quite tiny on its plinth in contrast to its immediate environment. I'm just glad it was blue. In any case, by the time you finish this area, you should have been able to bag yourself a plasma gun and a BFG, which should speak to the volumes of enemies you should be expecting to encounter next. But through that blue door, you'll find yourself quite pleasingly at the start of the bridge that you will have witnessed from afar on an earlier part of the level. The opposite side of the bridge here effectively provides a capstone for the aesthetic of this part of the map. I'm particularly a fan of the way the lava falls reflect in the blood pools. And just when you think you've had your fill of combat in this section and you're ready to head for the door, guess what? Time for a Revenant party! I feel like fighting through them though is well worth the effort, because your reward for doing so is gaining entry to this area. This is quite possibly the area I like the look of the most out of the entire map. And that's saying something, because all of these areas are gorgeous in their own particular way, but yeah, I think I'm just a sucker for bisexual lighting. What can I say? It certainly doesn't hurt that this is an absolute looker on the architectural front as well. It's just eye candy as far as the eye can see. You got them flying buttresses, you got those towers linking walkways, and just leading your eye up to the heights. And man, yeah, I just love the way everything feels almost bathed in those emissive lights, be it the liquid of choice for the area itself or other various sources of light dotted around. I mean, I'd appreciate it more if it wasn't for the cacos, which for some reason I was having a tremendous amount of trouble dealing with during this particular section. Anyways, once you collect the red key card from around the side of this pillar, it's off through these doors and up and over the gantryways. Eventually, you'll hit this troublesome little section here, which ultimately provides you with the yellow skull key, but in return will face you off against a fresh batch of imps and revenants. Don't know quite what it was about the return trip across the goop here, but I just kept finding myself falling in, or taking a rev rocket to the face, or blowing myself up. Either way, I somehow managed to drag myself back to the yellow skull card door, and my reward? A section dominated by the color blue. Very striking, I might add. Probably my second favorite usage of color throughout the course of this map. It's just not something I see very often, unless you're maybe playing Doom 64. I should play more Doom 64. Depending on what way you tackle this area, it can actually wind up being pretty swift. Multiple angles of approach, multiple routes to take, goodies to aim for and subsequently fail to acquire, and unlike previous sections, this one isn't actually locked at the back end by any sort of keycard door, so as soon as you get yourself up there, you can pretty much breeze on through if you see fit. But again, you might find yourself missing out on a few useful goodies. Just remember to watch out for the cyber demon. But after luxuriating this long in the lurid depths of these demonic ruins, the journey upwards will take you into more human, more tech-based inflected environments, and what better kind of place could there be to show off the inviting green glow of Nukage? Again, much like previous areas, this is happy to throw a fair quantity of enemies at you, and is also happy to sidetrack you through various control rooms above before leading you back down into the walkways below. I'll have to admit though, after the prism of wonders that constitutes the preceding areas in this map so far, ascending into a pool of brown is probably somewhat of a visual climb down. Not that you'll have too much time to worry about that thanks to the absolute horde of barons blocking the pathway here, and also the spider mastermind waiting around in the filth. That said, it does still get some nice mileage out of some of the discreet lighting here, and the reflections. Mercifully, it is not that long at all before you're out of the poop water and into decidedly cleaner looking liquids. I'll be honest though, part of me wonders, would you still use the same kind of underwater shimmer effect in the poop water if it was deep enough? You know, just on the off chance you wanted to force the player to wade through it, but that's for someone else to make. I wouldn't be so cruel. Or would I? That question aside, this is still a damn pleasant space to navigate. The almost crystal clear water, the light spilling in from above, just invites you to dive on in, and as it happens, it's a viable tactic considering all of the gosh darn cacos! Much like other sections, verticality plays into this quite well. You ascend through multiple levels, dodge a cyber demon here and there, try not to get fried by a cadre of mancubi, and ultimately, bag yourself the yellow keycard that'll allow you access to the exit, which will, as it happens, plunge you into the deepest of depths, taking you all the way back to the very beginning of this map. That's right, it is an entire connected circular loop. I love it. Anyway, I just wanted to show you this map because I thought it was neat. That's pretty much my entire motivation behind 99% of what I do here on this channel. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like, subscribe, offer sacrifices to the YouTube algorithm, because Lord knows nothing else I've friggin' tried has worked these last few years. And if you want to try this map for yourself, the link, as usual, is in the description below. This has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.